In this lecture, we're going to create the database and the table to be able to access users, so to be able to register new users and log in users. All right, so a database is also a schema, so they would appear here, and right now this is empty, and I can click on refresh here, and as you can see, nothing happens. But inside of the query, we can create a database. So just type with me, create database, and then the name, I'm going to call it game server. All right, and then put a semicolon at the end, and then you can click here to launch the query, okay? Or you can press on Windows, you can click on Control Enter, or on a Mac, Command Enter, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click here, so that runs that, and you can see the output here. It says create database game server with a green light, meaning that it worked. All right, so as you can see, everything went fine. It got created. Now, if I click on refresh here under schema, you will see that it's going to appear. So I click here, and there we go. We have the game server. Now there is no tables, it's all empty, but we have the database. All right, now I'm going to add on top of this, I'm going to add the table. So I'm going to say use game server, so that the system knows that I want to use this database. And below that, I'm going to create the table. So how do you create the table? So first, let's run this. Okay, so I'm using it, and you can always check if it's okay or not. If it's not green, if it's red, like an error, then something is wrong. Make sure you have the right, make sure you're connected to the database. You can always connect back, just like I did in the previous lecture, and everything should be good to go. Now, we need to create the user database that has the user email address and the password. So go ahead, create table. So that's a table that basically has the information, if not exist. So basically, if the table does not exist, we create it. And let's give it a name. So click on tilde, which is at the left side of the key that says 1. Okay, so on the keypad that says 1, on the left you have a tilde. And let's call it users. Okay, so if you're familiar with other languages, or like SQL, or T-SQL, or Microsoft SQL, you know that it's very similar. And then let's put the information. So what we want is the user ID. So I'm going to use tilde user ID. As you can see, I put an I uppercase. You don't really have to, but just remember, if you do it, you have to remember what it is. Now I'm going to put an integer, so just a string of numbers, and that's of 11 character long. And this can never be null, and this automatically increase. So the first time is going to be 0 and so on, okay? So auto increment, I'm going to actually put it uppercase so that you guys can see it better. Auto increment, okay? And then put a comma after, and we need the user email. So again, tilde user email. And here for the user email, what I'm going to put is the size of this. So the email address, I don't want it to be more than, let's say, 70 characters. So var, so that would be a varchar and 70. So inside of this, I can put 70. The reason why you want to limit this is that it takes less space, so it's faster. Your software will be faster if you put less characters. All right, and put this to be not null, because the email address can never be null. Otherwise, if it's null, we want it to throw an error, because that means that somebody is trying to hack the system. User pass, that's also a variable of characters, so lots of characters. And this one, the password, it can be longer, so I'm going to put 255, which is, it's more than enough, not null. And the next thing I want to say is what's the primary key, meaning that what makes this unique. So here, what's unique is obviously the user ID, so primary key. Now I could have done the user ID as being the primary key, but I'm going to I could have done the user email to be the primary key, but the user ID is going to be faster to reference in other tables than the email address, because the email address is a varchar and takes more space than an int. Okay, so primary key, and I'm going to set the primary key to be the user ID. All right. And next thing I want to do is also say what's unique. So put a comma, and what's going to be unique is the user email. So unique key, and here I'm going to put the user email, and then We need to also put finish that. So I'm gonna put the parentheses to close this parenthesis, and then I'm going to say which engine I'm using. So below that, right after, I'm going to put engine is equal to InnoDB. Now there's a few other engines, but don't worry about this. InnoDB is like one of the most used ones, and that's just the way things are getting retrieved from the database, so the way to interact with the database. But since it's just a regular user system, you don't have to worry about it. It's only for like way bigger system that every single second matters. Okay, so the default is equal to UTF-8, which is the Western character types, and then put auto increment here. All right, and is equal to 1, so that means that yes, we want the auto increment. Now let's put a semicolon to close that, and let's double check. I believe we're good to go. We shouldn't have any errors. So now we're going to run this. Now, how do you run this? Well, you select the use game server. We've already done that. All right, and now to be able to create this, select this, and let's click on it. Oh, by the way, I have an error here. The default, it's not UTF-8, it's the character set. So I need to add character set. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So the default character set, so default char set, there we go, is equal to UTF-8. All right. So now select this, and I'm going to click on run. And as you can see, first let me clear this. So I right click and clear so that we have no output. And now I'm going to click on the run. And there we go. It says create table success. So we have the green light. And now if I go to the game server here and click on refresh, check this out. Under tables, we have the users table. All right, we created the users table. Now in the next lecture, we're going to add a user, and we need to interact next with the PHP.